Welcome back to the channel. You see the information on the screen, so you know what I'm about. So let's get into it. So, that was Iyanla Vanzant. I know most of you already know who she is. And, she's been very outspoken about, a lot of the problems in the dating community. And honestly, what's really funny is I think that anybody that spends any serious amount of time just really paying attention to what's going on in the black community when it comes to dating, it almost always goes back, honestly, to the previous generation, which many times can go generation on back. And while I don't think it's always 100%, just about the man or just about the woman, it is definitely that combination where these people, they just could not figure out how to work it out. And so therefore they split, not being concerned about the effects on the children. All right. And I could go more into that, but I'm going to focus primarily on the men today. See what I've learned about most men is that even if they didn't have a dad at home, most of them will try to figure it out. Like many people right now might be watching me, and I have found, through YouTube and stuff like that, that by the time you get down to 18, believe it or not, ladies, there are a lot of men watching that are 18 and in their 20s and in their 30s because those men are trying to figure it out. They didn't have, they probably, not all of them, but, many of them might have not had a father or a good father. So they really don't understand what to do. And so they're trying to find men that can speak into their lives to move them in the direction that they hope to go, which is kind of what, Iyanla Vanzant is saying. Because what the man is doing is he's trying to find that figure, somebody that can tell him or teach him or show him a way that will work, something that is solid, something that he can believe in. And it's one of the main reasons why I always believe in actually giving solutions, even though I talk a lot, but I want to give enough examples for people to fully understand, what I'm saying in almost every single video. And when it comes down to it, like I've said before, women, y'all just, if it's very difficult for a woman to raise a boy. It is. I'm sorry, ladies. I'm sorry what you believe. I'm sorry that the world has done this and that for you. I will say I thank you for trying. I will say that again. I think many of you have done a pretty good job in what you were trying to do, but there's just a difference in the way that men talk to other young men and males growing up, the way that we interact, and the way that men have to be in order to achieve in this life, right? And so this is not me downing single moms that have tried to raise their sons and different things like that, because I know that for many of you, you had no choice, but I'm going to be real. If the man wants the boy, okay, y'all need to go back and rewatch Boys in the Hood, because when a boy turns 8 years old, and even if you say, hey, we're going to co-parent with the boy living at his dad's once he turns 8. You love that boy from 0 to 7. You put your arms around him. You squeeze him. You tell him how much, every day that he is, your little, love or whatever. And whatever you say, to your son, oh, you just my son. I just love you so much. Oh, you so cute. Whatever it is. Okay, you pour that love into him. From a baby all the way to about 7, 8 years old. But at that point, even if you are, divorced, even if you and your man never got married, okay, it is time for that boy to go live with his daddy, because you just don't know. And it is around the age between 7 and 9-ish when that boy is going to start to need to get on the path, okay, of manhood. All right. Because at the end of the day, it's like I said, she's saying emotionally manipulating. And I don't think most women, like I say, would do that. I don't know, because she might be talking directly to that particular lady. But I would say that the issue here is just about understanding the boy's needs. When I first started Christian Singles Connect, literally, I mean, back in this particular time, we probably only had maybe 150 people in the group, and the average Zoom call was maybe 8, 9 people, right? It really wasn't a lot. And I got on one time, and it was just me and about 10 women, 10 or 11 women, right? And it was so funny because one lady asked me, she said, Jay, why is it that so many men out here, they just don't know what to do. They don't know how to treat you. They broke. They ain't got nothing going on. She was like, they almost act like children. And she was like, I feel like I gotta be their mama. It's like every single guy I'm dating, it's like he's at that point where he's not standing on his own, and I feel like I have to mother him. And many of the other women agreed, with her. And so, she was, looking for me, and I was like, honest, do you really want me to answer this? I was like, are you ready for me to answer this question? And she was like, yeah, I want to know. And I was like, okay, so how many of you, have kids? And, a lot of them raised their hands. And I was like, how many of you have sons? And a few of them raised their hands. And I was like, you're doing it to them. You are raising the next generation of black men. And if you're not hard on them, okay, then you're going to turn them into that. And people had talked about the fact that a lot of black women raise their daughters and they baby their sons. And to me, that's really how it's supposed to be. But the problem is the man is missing. If the man is missing, the woman can't do that. She has to almost soften her daughter and raise her son if the man is missing, if that makes sense. In our society, softer women do better when it comes to marriage, relationships, and overall life. They might not have as much money. They might not necessarily travel all around the world. They might not necessarily have all the nicest clothes and the cars, but they'll have love and they'll have relationship. But in our society, men that are soft, they don't have money. They might have relationships, but it tends to be torn. Okay. And it kind of destroys, the other side, right? But if you want to make a man, one of the things that I've learned, and I'm going to be real for even the guys that are watching this particular video, is you have to be hard on them. See, a man, a lot of, even now on social media, it's like everybody's really sensitive about certain things. And I'll even admit, I try to be sensitive about it as well to a degree. Like, y'all know I love to watch football. And they have all these commercials talking about men's anger, and it's okay to be angry, and it's okay, if you need therapy, and blah, 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 blah. And don't be angry. Don't be toxic masculinity. Here's the whole thing. I tell people all the time, I mean, my personality is very much like the Hulk. I'm angry all the time. And I've actually had women to tell me they wanted to cry when I told them that. I was like, my natural energy, my natural walking around is so stern. It is so focused that, for me, I could almost equate it to a very low level of anger. And these women were just so afraid. Oh, Jay, you shouldn't be that way. Oh, Jay, you did. Oh, my gosh. No. And I try to tell them in a very nice way, no, you don't know anything about being a man. So don't tell me how to be a man. Okay, I'm not telling you how to be a woman. Okay, for men, going around with with all your emotions on your sleeve doesn't help you. And when women are raising boys, they're like, oh, it's okay to show your emotions. It's okay to do this. It's okay to do that. And I want a man to be, like I say, attached to his emotions a little bit. But I'm going to be real in life. Okay, men are going to do better if they suppress most of it. And for most women, if they really think about it, okay, they will prefer men to suppress it. And I know it's hard when you're dealing for a woman when she's raising a son, because now she's looking at that boy and she's trying to say, well, I don't want you to, to cover your emotions. I want you to be able to talk to me and this, that, and the third. But in reality, it doesn't work that way. Like, again, on another particular video, it was talking about how a lot of men, they don't talk about their emotions. They don't. They will tell you one time, if something hurts them. But after that, they really don't tell you again. So a lot of men walk around suffering, quote unquote, in silence. And we talk about this kind of stuff. Okay, people are talking about this kind of stuff. Because why? Because that's the whole point. Men suffer in silence a lot, but what men are not looking for is for women to basically be like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. And what do you need? No, what men are looking for is for you to respect them. Respect what they say when they say it, because you have to recognize they're saying it for your benefit. And it is the very emotional guy, the guy that is so, feminized because his mom has been okay with him just being super feminine and, she's sheltered him and stuff like that. That's the very man that you don't want, because what that does is it puts you in your masculinity, where you have to swallow your emotions as a woman. And now you're in a place where you can't be feminine. And that's what we see all over the internet. And again, how does this start? This comes from generations, right? See, 20 years ago, everybody wanted to blame the man. The men were all evil. Because why? They were leaving the woman, and they weren't taking care of their kids, and they weren't doing this, and they weren't doing that. Now we want to blame the woman. We want to say, well, you shouldn't have slept with him in the first place. Well, you had choices, and you chose wrong, right? But in reality, it's both. It's both, but both are happening at the same time. They're sitting right on top of each other. And that's why I'm always warning you all that it depends upon what you look at on the internet and in social media as to what you believe. And also how much pain you're harboring in your heart. Like, I'm not gonna lie, after my divorce, I was out here, I was listening to all those men. Shoot, I listened to a whole lot of them. Anyone that made sense to me that wasn't so far into the left or to the right, I would listen to them. And that's how I would get through my day. Okay, because they were feeding my emotions. They were feeding my emotions. But then by the time I started Christian Singles Connect, then I started to work and talk with other people, both men and women. A lot of that anger, that frustration that I had, it actually went away. And I started to be able to see clearer and clearer and clearer, as the fog lifted. And see, that is where the issue is. We as people, we don't recognize that we're in fog, because I didn't recognize I was in fog. But if everything that's in you is in hate, oh, these women ain't doing what they need to do. These women, they don't take care of themselves. These women, they ain't nice to you. These women are all masculine. If that's what you say as a man, then you're in anger. You're still in anger. You're not healed. And if you're a woman and you're like, well, there's no good men out here and all of them cheat on you and all of them do this and all of them do that and they always break your heart, you're still in pain. And what's sad about it is that energy that is sitting on you is going to repeat itself. I can almost guarantee it will. If you do not pay attention, it will repeat itself. And the reason why it's going to repeat itself is because it's not just an anger. When you get like that, it's almost like a spirit. And a lot of people talk about this stuff, but it's like, it can get real weird, especially on the Christian channel to talk about it. So I'm giving you the opportunity, if you're super, on that Christian path and you want to, turn the video off. But we've all heard of this concept of the law of attraction. And a lot of people, in the Christian community, they want to drop it. They don't want to talk about that. They think it's evil. Well, I actually think it's just God's Amazon, okay, or God's Facebook, okay? Because if you go out right now to the internet or on your phone or wherever it is, and you start to go to page to page to page, even right now, maybe it's happening to you on YouTube, your commercials, every single thing is lined up with what you watch. Even YouTube, basically. You watch one of my videos, even if you don't subscribe, they're going to try to get you to watch another one. Why? Because you watch one. That's it. It only takes one before now YouTube is like, oh, y'all want to watch Jay Stovall? Let me throw up another one of his videos so you can watch it, right? God does that in our reality. Okay, and what people say that is, they call that the law of attraction. Okay, that's just what it's called. There's nothing really mysterious about it. You understand it through YouTube, okay, and through Facebook and through Google and all these other places, so you can understand how it works in reality. So if you on YouTube watch nothing but angry people, a lot of people talking about how horrible men are or how horrible women are, do you ever think you're going to get a solution? Do you ever think YouTube is going to send you a video that is the literal solution? No, it's never going to happen unless somebody's quote unquote baiting and switching, where it seems like it's an evil video based off the title and all this other kind of stuff. And then you get in it and then you're like, oh, well, they're not really talking the same. Unless it's something like that, YouTube is never going to do it. I can see through YouTube analytics what you all are watching. They tell me the top 10 people that you all that watch me are watching. And what YouTube is trying to do is they're trying to tell me that, hey, if you want to do more content like them. And many of you watch a lot of angry stuff. Okay. And so that's my point. If you want to get married, you have to go to the people with the solutions. You have to go to the people, not necessarily trying to appease your heart, but you have to go to people that have solutions. And it's the same thing with raising boys. For the women that don't have a man to raise their son, the man is 100% gone. He's a 100% loser. He's in jail. He's this, he's that, and the third. Okay, at that point, you have to get your son around men. Lots of men. And men that you can admire as a woman. Okay, that might be a football coach or a basketball coach. Sometimes people put their sons in sports not because they want them to go to the NFL or NBA or, play professional sports, period. They're just getting them around other boys or getting them around men that they can believe in, right? You might have to get them around teachers. Like one of my, like I say, friends growing up, he had a single mom. And his mom put him into a lot of activism type of things, where there was a lot of, concerns about, black people and rising up. So she found several organizations and she put him in that. And when he wasn't doing that, he was doing art. So she was sending him to art school. Okay. And so she kept him busy. That was her way of keeping him off the streets and keeping him out of trouble. Right. And he was really a really nice guy. But the whole thing about it was that was, her solution. And that's what you have to do. If you're a woman and the man's gone, then that's what you have to do. But the ideal situation is, like I say, once that boy turns 6 or 7 years old, you start to, call up his dad and say, hey, he's 7 now, come get your son. And I'll be okay with seeing him at Christmas and maybe every other weekend and during the summer vacation. And see, that is really what needs to be done, so boys can get stronger, and they can be ready to take on the world, because it's just things that the mom just can't give them. Now, I'll admit, though, and I'm really quick to say this, is that the best solution is for both people, both male and female, okay, to be there. So the mom and the dad. Okay, that is the best solution. And that is a solution I'm hoping we can start creating more of as we go to the future. Okay, but I also have to look at what is the reality for 70% of Black America. The reality is that a single parent is going to raise these children. And what I've noticed, and many of you might have noticed, is most of the anger in the dating market is lined up directly to the single parent. It is. Whatever you want to say. When you're talking about the Pookie and Raymonds, lines up. When you're talking about all the single moms and all the kids, it lines up. When you're talking about, okay, when do you get married? Do you get married in your 20s or your 30s? It lines up. When you're talking about the successful black woman, in fact, she got to go get hers because ain't nobody going to be there for her. It lines up. Every single thing lines up. Why do you think God has me out here talking about marriage? Okay, it's all the same. Anyway, like I said, if you can give that boy to his dad, I can't go into all the details of what a woman needs to do. Okay, if you're a woman and you have a young boy and you're interested in that, like I say, hit me up. Actually, probably in the comments. I might look through the comments on this one to see if anybody wants a deeper video on that, and I might try to do one. But until then, please like and subscribe. Remember, we in 2025, we're going to have every other week, we're going to have Zoom calls, and we also have the dating stuff. So go down there, fill out that form. And if you want to join Christian Singles Connect or Christian Millennials Connect, and even though they're located in Atlanta, that's just a really easy way for us to actually just talk to you, even if you're not in Atlanta. So you'll get the emails and different things like that, at least for right now. That is going to be the current solution to the problem. So anyway, please like, please subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.